percentage of men and women? Yeah? Anyone in the audience can? Because I just want to make this interactive, because otherwise you'll flow after some time. Yes, it is 50.49 male against 49.3 female. So it's almost 50-50. That is why we are here. That is why we are talking about this topic today. But as at 2023, if you take the national level representation of women in national assemblies, only 11.3 or 17 women are heads of state, including India. You can be proud of. 9.3, only 19 women are leading the governments, like prime ministers. And only 22.7 or 62 women are speakers in the parliament. Little better than first two numbers. But when we take the local level, decision-making bodies, 1/3 of women are representing the decision-making bodies at the local level, which we can proud of. Why is that? Anyone has any clues? Yes, that is because of the quota. And especially out of this, 44%, 3,471,908 women from Central and South Asia. So we are somewhat, be happy with. And I know India is one of the first countries that introduced the quota. Of course, we will get all this history from Mr. Singh, Sunil Kumar Singh. I don't want to touch his area because otherwise he will say I don't have anything. You have spoken all what I have prepared for. So I don't want to, So, okay. 18%, the lowest representation comes in the region. Yet, they are yet to be decided whether to introduce a quota to get more women into the decision-making positions, at least at the local level. Okay. Anyone has any idea what is the quota system is? We are talking about so much about quota. What is this quota system? Any clue, any idea? Okay. So I'm going to have my kind of, educational session now. Yeah. There are two types of quota systems. One is the legislative quota. What is this legislative quota? A quota backed by an act or a legal instrument. That's the legislative quota. The other one is the voluntary quota. Normally we find voluntary quotas in the political parties because it's not supported by any act or something, but it's a political parties that make the decision that we are going to give this much of position for women in our party for the decision-making positions. So, and then again, there are three types of quota. That is one, aspirant quota. If somebody is going to contest for the election, when it comes to elections, you give quota in the nominations list. That is called the aspirant quota. Then comes the candidate quota. What is the candidate quota? Any idea? There are two lists when you are contesting for women elections. One is the contestant, other one is the proportional representation. So you get a proportional representation. So that is assured, then it's a candidate, we call it the candidate quota. Then the election stage, you get reserve seats, that's for sure. You get a chance to contest again. So these three types of quota are now in operation in the world. And then 44% of the countries implement this quota system. Out of that, 34% is yet the candidate quota, and 10% only the election quota, which is like the mandatory quota for the reserve seats. So I think I'm going to stop my lecture now. Otherwise, I will keep on talking. And I would like to invite my first speaker. And I'm going to watch your time, sir. So you have to be mindful. You will get only 10 minutes. And I'm going to put you on spot. 2 questions from my side. Why women need to be in politics? That's the first question. Second one is, you would like to hear a little bit about the history of the quota system in India. So I think, and see, we are giving our fair share to our counterpart, Mr. Singh, to start this session. The stage is yours, sir.
All right. As Mr. Singh joins us at the podium, I would like to give a brief introduction about him. Mr. Sunil Kumar Singh, IAS retired member, Administrative, Technical, Real Estate, Appellate Tribunal, Bihar, Patna. Well, he has a background in electronics and communication engineering, having graduated from IIT Roorkee. He then joined the Indian Administrative Service in 1983 in the Bihar cadre, where he served for nearly 15 years in various positions related to urban and housing development. One of their notable achievements during this time was introducing the area-based assessment of property tax as the administrator of the Patna Municipal Corporation, known as the Patna Model of Taxation, which received the Dubai International Award of Improving Human Settlement in 2002. He served the Government of India as Joint Secretary, Housing, and was the first Chief Coordinator, Secretary General of Asia Pacific Housing and Urban Development Ministers Conference, which is a forum of housing and urban development ministers of 52 countries. He has traveled internationally to 26 plus countries during his career, and he has served as a Chief Vigilance Officer in Indian Oil Corporation, financial advisor of the University Grant Commission, and additional secretary and additional superintendent from the Government of Bihar as chairman, Board of Revenue, and also served as chairman of the 7th Pay Commission for all the universities of Bihar. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Sunil Kumar Singh, standing right in front of us. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, my fellow panelists, respected mayors, respected deputy mayors, experts on the subject sitting in the audience, and all friends. The moderator of the session asked me a question about why the quota system when it was introduced. If you see the Indian Constitution, with the enforcement of the Constitution, and the special mention was made for the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and other backward castes. And that was the first time quota system in Indian Constitution came. Much improvement has taken place, but now in today's session, majority of the experts are from urban sector. The urbanization process started in India much before, and municipal history, and moreover in Panchayat history, the municipalities and Panchayat did exist pre-independence also. And elections were held, that was the local self-government executed at the grassroots level. And many times the independent movement, they played a very important role. But the first time, these municipalities, which were basically provincial subject, they were being controlled by the provinces, state governments. Some efforts were made to amend the Constitution. First in the year 89, where the Constitution was to be amended, and municipalities and Panchayat were supposed to meet as a constitutional entity, but somehow it did not succeed. But in 1992, Indian Constitution was amended, and 2 basic amendments were made in the Constitution, that is primarily known as 73rd for Panchayat and 74th for the urban local body. And salient features were given. Earlier, the elections of the Panchayat and municipalities were being held by the state government. So one of the provisions were made in the Constitution that elections should be held based on some constitutional entity, just like the Election Commission of India. State election commissions were introduced, and the resources to the municipalities and Panchayat were not subject to discretion of the state government, and the constitution was amended by some amendment in the Central Finance Commission, and the concept of State Finance Commission was introduced by these amendments, so that the devolution to panchayat and municipalities should be right of these municipalities and panchayat. These are some basic provisions. But one of the basic quota system was thought about in the first 1992 Constitution Amendment, which was mandated that in every panchayat and municipality, minimum 1/3, nearly 33% of the women must be represented. And elections were held. I was there in Government of India in 1998. There were more than 3,700 municipalities in the country, and many panchayats were there. At that time, nearly more than 70,000 were represented in the local bodies. Based on the India experiment, and probably India was one of the few countries where the constitutional amendment, where the mandate of 33% women was mentioned, and United Nations thought of it, can we have a charter for the local government? And they constituted a world charter on local self-government under the aegis of the UN Habitat with the guidance of the UN. And many countries were represented, including the Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, India. I was fortunate enough that India has nominated me as a representative of India. World Charter on Local Self-Government, since it was amendment of India, so we thought of pursuing our agenda of 74 type of charter in the globe. Somehow, some of the reservation of the few countries, the charter could not be approved, and therefore it could not become international law. But going back to the India, then we implemented, since municipalities and panchayats are the state subjects, therefore the reservation was to be given under the Municipal Act, but there was no bar for 33% by the state government. In fact, some of the provinces, like the state of Bihar, I will tell some interesting story after that. They made reservation of 50% for the women. Not only this, even in the government jobs also, 30% reservation has been mentioned for the women. So that is the quota system legally which has been started in this. Consequence of that has been recently held election of the Bihar in the December month. I was very astonished to see the figure. The total mayors in state of Bihar. Bihar primarily is not very urbanized state. Earlier it was second from the bottom, because total urban population was only 12%, but of late the definition of urban has been changed, and now the population has increased by 80 to 90%. But election tells very interesting story. Out of the mayors in Bihar, 17 have been elected. Out of 17, 16 are the women there. Only one are the men. The Mukh Parshad, that is municipality, second level of the municipal bodies, out of 43 are women, 26 are the men. Nagar Panchayat, that is third layer, that is 83 are the women and 54 are the men. If you see the ward figure, then total women are 2858 and men are 247. So statutory provision of this 50% has crossed this. That means many women have come on their own. Why the quota system? Quota system primarily came out because the muscle power and the finances power were resting with the men. Therefore, in order to cooperate, the reservation quota system was introduced. But of late, with this constitutional amendment of 33%, this has come very handy, and many women are getting elected. Now, second question will come, whether it has been done country across. When I was coming for this seminar, I got a very disturbing note from one of the state of the India, the state of Nagaland. The constitution mandates 33% reservation for the women, but that constitution does not apply for the 6th scheduled area and 5th scheduled area unless by an act of the parliament that is extended. So most only in 2001, Nagaland has given reservation of 33%. Of late, I learned that that act has been repealed, and their quota system of that. Now that case is, we understand, is pending with the Supreme Court somewhere. That information I do not have. So this 33% country across, if it is made, then on their own women will come forward and this quota of even 50%, which has been mandated in some of the states, and not even Maharashtra has mandated for 50%. So women which are elected, in fact, out of 17 male, if 16 are women, the percentage goes as high as more than 95%. That's on positive side. Now, second question is, I'm confident, I'm likely to get the question. In spite of this, if so many women are there, basically, if you see Indian Constitution, most of the subjects which are to be dealt at the local level, they are mandated under the municipal subject. 18 subjects like town planning, sanitation, water supply, that is to be mandated. If the state so wants, they must transfer to municipalities. And most of the state government have transferred these subjects. But had the condition improved or not? That is the second question. Now, challenge before the women will be, the government of Bihar itself has gone to Supreme Court. Supreme Court has given notice to different parties, and about financial, unless you give resources to the municipalities, they will not be able to perform. So financial revolution and the public interest litigation pending in the Patna High Court, we hope with the intervention of Supreme Court, some good results will come, and these women who have been elected, they will be able to come up to expectation of public. So this is in brief, I wanted to mention. Subsequently, during question and answer session, if any specific question will be asked, I'll be very happy to reply them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Singh, for that. You may come and we will post the questions to the last. If anybody has any questions, you can note down your questions. It's really inspiring to hear that 50% quota has brought 16 women mayors up out of 17. So that's the positive side of it. And the negative side is like, okay, your power should be supported with resources. So those are the takeaways from the first speaker. I would like the host to introduce our second speaker. She is
Miss Himali Bhogawala.
Miss Himali. If you
Lady-
can, you can introduce her first.
Sure, thank you. Thank you to our moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, on the podium we have Miss Himali Bhogawala, Mayor of Surat Municipal Corporation. Miss Himali Ben Bhogawala, the current Mayor of Surat, has had an illustrious political career spanning over 2 decades. She has served in various administrative capacities such as the President of Surat City Women's Front, Media Convener of Gujarat State BJP Women's Front, as the General Secretary of Gujarat State BJP Women's Front, as a Director in Gujarat State Road Transport Corporation, as a Municipal Councillor Ward number 11, and the Chairman of the Public Transport Mobility Committee at Surat Municipal Corporation. Mayor Himali Ben is known for her passion for the welfare of the vulnerable sections of society and has vast experience in women empowerment and social and cultural upliftment. She is also the only mayor in India to represent Surat City in the World City Summit 2022 held in Singapore. Overall, the mayor of Delta City Surat has demonstrated a strong commitment to public service, particularly in promoting urban transformation, climate resilience, women empowerment, and social and cultural upliftment. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it from Mayor Himali Ben. Over to you, ma'am.
Mayor Himali.
In Gujarat, we address it as Behen, as like sister, we say Behen.
Sister Behen, yes.
Ben.
Ben, okay. Thank you very much for that. I would like to pose 2 questions to you. Since you have worked with marginalized women.
Please talk to me, please.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
I can translate it for you. Yes, Miss our moderator, requesting you to.
I just wanted to ask her whether the quota system has helped to bring marginalized women into the mainstream politics. That's my first question. Whether they were taken into the decision-making bodies. The second question to her is, quota allow limited number of spaces for women representation. Are there any other strategies that she could propose to get more women into the decision-making bodies? Those are the 2 questions I would like to pose to her.
I have actually clearly understood the second question, which I will put across her first, and then I might request you to repeat your first question. मैम, इनका जो सवाल है वो ये है कि हमारे पॉलिटिक्स, वुमेन पॉलिटिक्स में लिमिटेड कोटा औरतों को दिया जाता है, तो क्या आप ऐसी कुछ स्ट्रैटेजीज शेयर करना चाहेंगे हमारे बीच जिससे वो कोटा बढ़ाया जा सकता है? क्या यही क्वेश्चन था? यस, हाँ जी, ओवर टू यू मैम.
थैंक यू वेरी मच. सबसे पहले तो मैं ये कहना चाहूँगी कि मैं भी इंग्लिश बोल सकती हूँ, समझ सकती हूँ, लेकिन मेरी लैंग्वेज है, मैं गुजरात से बिलोंग करती हूँ, हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र भाई मोदी के गुजरात से हूँ, तो मैं ये सोचती हूँ कि मैं हिंदी में ही बोलूँ, इसीलिए मैंने मेरी लैंग्वेज.
एक बार जोर से तालियां हो जाएं इस बात के लिए.
ऑल इंडिया लोकल सेल्फ गवर्नमेंट के माध्यम से आज इस मंच पर यहाँ पर वुमन लीडरशिप का जो कार्यक्रम, जो मीटिंग का आज एक पार्ट रखा गया है, उसके लिए मैं इस टीम को हृदय से धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगी. और सबसे ज्यादा जो हमारी महिलाओं के लिए जो पॉजिटिव एक एनर्जी पॉइंट है, क्योंकि जब भी पॉलिटिक्स की बात आती है, राजनीति की बात आती है, तो स्वाभाविक है कि एक महिला को घर से बाहर निकलना, लोगों की सोच बदल जाती है. लेकिन यहाँ तक आते आते, इस मंच तक पहुंचने तक मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि अब ये सोच बदल गई है. और यहाँ से मुझे क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है कि लिमिटेड कोटा महिलाओं के लिए होना चाहिए या नहीं चाहिए, तो उसकी शुरुआत ऑलरेडी हमने गुजरात से कर दी है. अभी मेरे आगे के सर ने, वक्ता जी ने बताया कि लिमिटेड कोटा के माध्यम से 33% पहले ऑल ओवर इंडिया में था, और शायद अभी कहीं कहीं जगहों पर, कहीं कहीं कंट्रीज में, कहीं कहीं स्टेट पर अभी वही चल रहा है. लेकिन मुझे प्राउड है कि मैं गुजरात से हूँ, क्योंकि जब मैं पहली बार इलेक्शन लड़ी तो 33% कोटा में मैं सिलेक्ट हुई थी, और जब मैं दूसरी बार इलेक्शन लड़ी तो 50%. हमारे यहाँ गुजरात में 50%. हमारे एक मंडल में 2 भाई है तो 2 महिला है. हमारी मेयर की टीम है, हमारे 5 साल का टेन्योर होता है, तो उसमें से 2.5 साल लेडीज है, 2.5 साल जेंट्स है. तो ये हमारे लिए बहुत प्राउड की बात है. और जहां पर महिला रिजर्व सीट है सर, मैडम, तो वहां पर तो स्वाभाविक है कि महिला ही मेयर होगी. लेकिन जब नेक्स्ट 2.5 साल में जनरल सीट आती है, अगर उस महिला ने अच्छा काम किया है तो उस जनरल सीट पर भी महिला वापस मेयर बन सकती है. ये एक महिला का पॉलिटिक्स के प्रति और उसमें राजनीति में काम करने के लिए जो उसका एफियंस होता है वो 100% होता है. मैं ये नहीं कहती कि भाई काम नहीं करते हैं, लेकिन एक लेडी जब घर चलाती है ना, तो घर में गफला नहीं करती. वैसे ही अगर वो राजनीति चलाती है ना, तो उतने ही ईमानदारी से वो राजनीति में आगे बढ़ती है. और इसीलिए हमें ये लगता है कि महिलाओं में पॉलिटिक्स में इन्वॉल्वमेंट अभी 50% है. मैं ये सोचती हूँ कि धीरे धीरे हम 70 तक भी पहुँचने की कोशिश करेंगे और वहाँ भी कामयाब होंगे. ये हमारे अंदर की ये बात है. मैं ये कहना चाहूँगी कि 2014 में हमारे गुजरात में पहली बार एक महिला मुख्यमंत्री आनंदीबेन पटेल हुए, और उसी के नेतृत्व में वहाँ से चलकर वो मुख्यमंत्री बने, तो वो महिला थी, वो वहाँ सीमित नहीं रही. उन्होंने ही 50% महिला इलेक्शन करके वहाँ गुजरात में 50% महिलाओं को नेतृत्व मिला है. और उतना ही नहीं, हमारी असेंबली में भी अभी हमारे यहाँ 15 महिला है. 182 सीट पर हमारी 16 महिलाएं, 15 महिलाएं वहां पर काम कर रही है, असेंबली में काम कर रही है. वैसे हमारे कॉरपोरेशन में भी हमारे 120 कॉरपोरेटर इलेक्टेड है, उसमें से भी 60 हमारी महिला काम कर रही है. और आप सब जानते हो कि लोकसभा में भी हमारी कितनी महिलाओं वहां बैठी हुई है. इसीलिए मैं ये कहना चाहूंगी कि पॉलिटिक्स में, राजनीति में महिलाओं को और आगे नेतृत्व मिलता है तो वो बहुत अच्छी तरह के इस देश की सोच बदलने के लिए सक्षम है. वैसे ही हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कई बार कहा है कि सशक्त नारी सशक्त भारत. ये स्लोगन सिर्फ बोलने के लिए नहीं है. अभी G20 अमृत काल पूरे देश में हम लोग मना रहे हैं। G20 में अर्बन 20 है, G20 में BU20 है, बिजनेस 20 है। तो वही सूरत की एक पहचान है कि सूरत डायमंड सिटी है, सूरत टेक्सटाइल सिटी है, और उसके साथ साथ सूरत एक मिनी भारत के रूप में बसा हुआ है। अलग अलग प्रांत के लोग सूरत में बसे हुए हैं, तो उसके माध्यम से भी सभी भारत के लोगों को भी, खास करके महिलाओं को भी वहाँ प्रतिनिधित्व मिलता है। जब इलेक्शन आता है तब महिलाओं की जो हम पसंदगी करते हैं वो भी उसी तरह से करते हैं कि वो कौन से स्टेट से बिलोंग करती है, वहाँ इसका समाज कितना है, अगर इसको टिकट मिलेगी तो वह कैसे जीत जाएगी। तो इसी तरह से मैं ये सोचती हूँ कि अगर पॉलिटिक्स में महिलाओं को और भी एक चांस दिया जाएगा, मौका दिया जाएगा, तो वो बहुत अच्छी तरह से अपने को रिप्रेजेंट करेगी, और खुद अपने को ही नहीं बल्कि साथ साथ अपने समाज का भी नेतृत्व मजबूताई से करेगी और बाद में अपने देश का भी नेतृत्व करेगी। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, Mayor has concluded her speech, I think, in about 5.5 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, our next speaker is Professor Sneha.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our next speaker, Dr. Professor Sneha Palnitkar, CEO and Member Secretary of Waste Management and Research Center, AIILSG, Mumbai. Dr. Professor Sneha Palnitkar holds 2 master's degrees in doctorate degrees in solid waste management from University of Mumbai. She also holds a postgraduate degree in public relations and journalism from Chetna Institute of Management and Research, Mumbai. She has implemented several projects for ILO ICFTU during her tenure as Assistant Director, Ambedkar Institute of Labour Studies, Mumbai. She subsequently worked as a Senior Research Officer and Professor Director, Regional Center for Urban and Environmental Studies, All India Institute of Local Self-Government, Mumbai since 1983, and currently working as a CEO, Waste Management and Research Center, AIILSG, Mumbai, set by Government of Maharashtra. She handles several capacity building programs on women in urban local governments for several international organizations, that is UMP as an anchor institution for South Asia, Unhabited, GIZ, ISS, the Netherlands, UNDP and Ministry of Urban Development, Government of India, and several state governments in India and city governments. She has written extensively on women in local governance and empowerment in international and national publications. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it from Dr. Professor Sneha Palnitkar.
Thank you, host. So my question to Professor Sneha. Quota system help to bring unrepresentative or underrepresentative groups to the decision-making tables. How successful they are in learning their new roles? That's my question number 1, because you have trained so many women who have entered into the political career. My second question to you, Professor, is we observe most women do not pursue their political career beyond local levels, from Gram Panchayat to provincial or national levels. What are the barriers you see, and what are the strategies you propose to make them go up in their political career? So those are my two questions to you, Professor Sneha. Thank you very much. You have 10 minutes.
Thank you. Honorable Mayors present here, distinguished dais, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, I handled, this particularly the quota issue, right, when it was under discussion, from the 65th, the Constitution Amendment, and subsequently, I think I'm not going into that historical detail because Mr. Singh, he actually presented all the details, since he was with the ministry also. But I was present, for all prior, to actually Constitution Amendment 73rd or 74th, various, the state and city consultations were organized, and I was present, through that time, Ministry of Urban Development in almost all the states, in the country. And that time what we realized, yes, what was, in fact, stated, in the earlier, session, women, in fact, they are actually effective, in the different, particularly if you see the field, they can really, sort of show their, the knowledge, skills, in different, way. But quota system, if you see, prior to 92-93, they were, hardly women. They were very good, actually. If you see, the working at grassroots level, city level, or even political party level. But because of quota system, in fact, it is a new actually sort of, if you see, they were brought, into the political arena. Prior to that, I don't think any political party, they gave, that much representation, to the women in local government. I am now coming first, question, women in local government. In fact, you all will agree here with me, that because of, 74 amendment, many of you first entered, into political arena. Actually, I don't think any political party on their own, they would have come and they say, oh, we'll give 50%, to women at local government. And this I'm saying with my own experience at, the attending several consultations organized by different government. And so that was the first point. They brought, so many women into, political arena. Now, why actually, we wanted a quota system? Because see, like Mr. Singh also explained earlier, at local level, you may be a good leader, you may have a very good, the leadership qualities. But what has happened, particularly, in fact, women themselves, there was a criminalization of politics, there was a money, muscle, power, both. Even women, they were reluctant, because they did not know that time, the Municipal Act, implementation, urban service delivery, how, sort of, these all factors actually they were not known to them. Very few they knew that thing. Because if you see the first generation, women, those who enter, into political field, they came from different, in fact, fields, doctor, engineers, teachers, different field. Some of them, they almost came, from the community level to suddenly, in the policy making body. And that, I have seen, because, the entire training, almost all the state governments was handled, by me particularly, through All India Institute actually, in many states. And what we realized, that time women, they were actually sort of, reluctant first generation I'm talking. None of you may not be there in that first generation, of the women, in the local government. But yes, there was some kind of, sort of the constraint, in participating, at the local level. And all of them, they agreed, and even now, they agreed, they say, yes, quota brought us, in this political sector, we want to, do a good for a community, we have, that kind of, approach to work for the community, but we are missing, these skills, to work at the community level. And that was the first actually challenge, that yes, to bring, we said 49%, women in India. Only 51%, they are male. So normally we should have 50-50. So basically from that point, yes, that was a very, sort of the positive, the approach, to give, that much, particularly it was 33. Subsequently, there was a parliamentary committee. In fact, I was called also by Honorable, that time Sumitra Mahajan Madam, she was, actually chairperson of that committee at Government of India level. And Mr. Sharad Yadav, he was, for an urban committee, and in fact they were called to give evidence, whether 33 can be raised to 50%. Why 50%? Because it was thought that women, yes, there's several issues. Mr. Singh, he actually referred, to the 74th amendment and 12th schedule with the 18 function. Many of the functions, if you see, it was thought, that particularly women, they are more gender sensitive, in the several issues, which are at the local level, and they will definitely perform well, giving those services, even, for vulnerable groups, in the cities. And I totally agree that this quota system only brought women from the even different sort of the sections of the society into the political arena. Otherwise it would have, I think somebody in the morning mentioned that unless you have a political family, political backing, it's easy for you to enter the political the field. But because of the quota system, all women actually spanning different spectrum of the society, they got opportunity to serve the city. And that way quota system definitely help to bring, I think all mayors present here, they will agree with me that if there would have been no quota, whether every city would have 50% women at the local government. Even city like Mumbai, I remember because I'm from in the institute since 1984, and I remember that even Mumbai Corporation, out of that time 200 and plus something 222, the councillors in Mumbai Corporation, only 9 were women. Now, of course, but one thing with the quota system, when they were brought in, they performed well. And now, like somebody mentioned here, I think Honorable Mayor of Surat also mentioned, even Mumbai city, we have from 50, it's a 70%. Many women, they have come from open seats. So there is, yes, you have to give, a starting point, to bring women, into the political arena. Quota system definitely, sort of, the help, to women come into the political field. I'll just give you one example here. Recently, we conducted one study, with the college-going girls. And nobody, in fact, you will be surprised, nobody said, when I asked what kind of, career you would like to pursue, nobody told me I want to become a political leader. I want to become this, A, B, C, D, all kind of professions. Nobody said. Finally, I asked them, and they said, no, ma'am, it's very difficult, to get into the political field. I don't have political background. My family doesn't have money. These questions, different. So that, actually, it struck to me that because of this, sort of perceptions, even then, the quota system was, the useful, to bring in. But I'm sure, with the times to come, women will definitely take over, all, sort of the more and more numbers. But then it is not happening at the state and the central level. Actually, if you count, every state, if you count, the number of MLAs or even the member of parliaments, out of 500 plus, the things, I don't think that many numbers are, because still, if you say that it is a male dominating, the political field. How many women they can decide, giving tickets, at the particularly local level. And secondly, normally the ticket is given. See, I know all the political parties very well. I know most of their political bosses. Ticket is given if you can win the seat. You are winning, the seat is your first criteria. And that is, basically now with women with the, good work at the local level, good work, basically at various, issues, they are coming forward. So even they are crossing, the quota given to them. So 50, many states, it is going to 60, 70, 80, that kind of, ratio we are finding. But still, if, tomorrow there is no quota, this is my personal opinion, there may not be that many numbers, suddenly, at the local level. And when this is, I'm just saying, this is from my own experience of various programs, for last 4 or 5 decades, closely working with women in local government from different parties. I interact with all political parties. So, we know the mind of most of the parties, how the system operates. And from that point, yes, it definitely helps, but now it's up to women also how to take this further. That yes, you perform well. Many of them, they are doing extremely good work. You have many professionals now coming into the political field. So, they are working, to the great, sort of, if you see as a gender responsive, person, trying, to sort of achieve the things what was envisaged, when the constitution amendment was made. But I think quota system definitely help, to bring women into the entire, political arena.
No, I think you got few minutes from Honorable Mayor. What are the barriers you kind of see them climbing up in the political ladder from local to the provincial and to the national? Because we don't see that many women representing provincial or the national level.
Yeah, like politics. See, if I see the barriers, and this is my personal observations, I may be wrong. Here are all political leaders sitting here. You may correct me if you find, that, my any, sort of this is an experience sharing from my point of view. When, see, basically a number of women, actually they are there, see how far they have gone up, in their political ladder. Yes, I am a mayor, I am a, chairperson, but how much say I have in the local politics? Whether I can decide that in my city, this many number of seats should be given, to this many women, it may be open seat or, the particularly reserved seat, whether I have that kind of political power. See, when we see how far you have climbed, the political ladder, we then decide, how actually sort of you are going into decision making, the process. And this, I'm not making a loose statement, but basically we had done some research on this point globally. Need not be, I was a part of, the UNESCAP, study for 13 countries, which is available also on the net. Actually, India was one of the countries also. India definitely, in all the countries is leading, as far as, the quota system or a number of women, at the local level is concerned. But I think, and then secondly, like I said, same, for even the local government, like, the basically the money power, muscle power, then, we have, and backing also, from the male members actually, particularly in the party. How far the male members in the party support, even own party. I'm not saying different party, your own party, how many male members, support a female, member at local level. Why this is not happening, that going up the ladder, for a state level or, central level. So, suppose tomorrow if there is, sort of some kind of quota, I'm sure, you will have the number increase, at different levels. But this is also, the money power, how, whether I can win the election. Winning the election is the first criteria, whether if given a seat, whether I can, pull that seat, particularly how I can win that, what is my strategy, how I do, my calculation for winning the seat, these, strategies actually the women, they have to also even, but basically political parties should give, the seat to women to contest. And there, sort of whether you have a say there, in the deciding the ticket giving, particularly.
Thank you,
factors.
Professor.
So, I think, there are several, points which, I may take up, during the question, if at all there. And thank you very much, for giving me, this opportunity here to interact actually. And if you agree with me, I'll be happy, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sneha. Yes, of course, to get the tickets, there are so many other challenges. So our next speaker is Councillor Stephanie Utan, my long-standing friend.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's have Miss Stephanie Uithan, City Councillor, Catbalogan City, Philippines, a mother of two beautiful girls, a graduate of Masters in Public Administration and now taking up Doctor in Executive Leadership major in Public Management. Miss Stephanie has been in the public service for 15 years in the Philippines and now its second term as City Councillor after having served 2 terms, 6 years from 2013 to 2019 as the first woman. City Mayor of the capital city of the third largest island in the Philippines, Catbalogan City, Samar. Currently, she is the co-chair of UCLG SPAC, Standing Committee in Women in Local Government. Her major awards include 2020 awardee in the 3rd Pine Power Summit Award, 2017 awarded as one of the Philippines Honorable Queens, and 2013 awarded a Military Merit Award as a Master Sergeant of the Philippine Navy Army. Ms. Stephanie Uithan is an active officer and member of various international organizations for local government and an active speaker in different UN engagements, international and local regional programs and other courses, workshops. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Philippines, presenting Ms. Stephanie Uithan.
Thank you for the
Thank
generous
you.
information.
To set the background, I will pose 2 questions to you, Councillor Stephanie. In the Philippines, there are no quota system. In such environment, what are the barriers or challenges you see in women, especially from marginalized groups, coming into the decision-making bodies? That's my first question. And my second question is, in absence of a quota, what are the strategies available for women to get into the mainstream politics? Thank you.
Thank you. I hope I can answer that. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Are we still good? I hope you are, because I'm a bit nervous. A lot of leaders, women leaders surrounding me. I'm so honored and privileged to be here. Importance of quota for women in politics. Apologies if I need to read most of this, because I don't want to miss something and I intend to finish on time. I hope. Okay, so the current situation of women in politics and governance in Catbalogan City, my city, and the Philippines. Catbalogan City, we had the first and the only female mayor. That was me.
2013 to 2019, it is the most challenging time of my life. Executive department heads of our city government, we have 65% women department heads. In the legislative department, which is I am a member in the city council, we have 50% of women. In the villages or barangay or village chiefs, we have 32% in our city. Take note that this is not in the case in other local governments in the Philippines. Political positions in my country is still predominantly occupied by men. No law or policy on the number or percentage of women occupying a political position. We don't have a quota. Our vice president is a woman. In our province, our governor is a woman. 85 out of the 311 seats in the House of Representatives in the Philippines are held by women. That's 27%. We rank 86 out of the 193 countries in the world. I would like to contextualize women in politics on the importance of quota for women in politics, because as I heard from the first to second to third speakers, quota means the number of women sitting in a position. Before I move forward with my discussion, let me give a context of what I will be presenting on the importance of quota for women in politics. Women in politics in general, or maybe for us in Catbalogan, is not limited to women elected to positions as a mayor, governor, or even president. The context of women in politics is encompassing those that are sitting in the positions, yes, whether elected or appointed. Women employees working with the government. Women partners and stakeholders working with the government and the government for a common cause. What is important is the presence of women and their involvement in planning, decision-making of various environmental programs. This in itself is already a big factor, a stimulator, and a catalyst to ensuring better policies and a more inclusive society. Quota for me is the opportunity of every woman to represent in any of those that I mentioned. I'm almost 40 years old now, and I've been in political seats since 2007. That's almost 18 years in service. I would like to reiterate the positions that I held, so that, of course, you can actually understand what we are going through as political leaders. In 2007 to 2010, I was a village chief and became the president of all village chiefs and sitting as a city councilor. In 2010 to 2013, I was a top-notcher city councilor. In 2013 to 2019, I became the first and the youngest woman mayor of Catbalogan City. In 2019, up to present, I am a city councilor. I need to discuss some highlights of my milestone in the different seats I hold for a few years, and I hope every one of you here will realize what I am emphasizing about quota. That it is not only about the power to sit in a position in a government, but the space or the chance given to women to make change in the community. My milestone when I was the youngest village chief in my city, it was during my term that a pie of the coffers of the village budget was allocated for these programs for women. Inclusion of relevant programs for women such as skills training for livelihood programs, capability building, leadership programs, provision of livelihood assistance. Most of village chiefs, they concentrate their fund to infrastructure projects, not for women. But when I became the youngest village woman mayor, village chief in my village, I made sure that there is a budget for women. It was said that before me, no programs for women were introduced, and so, as a strong advocate of women, I made sure to include women in all the processes, in the planning, budgeting, implementation, and monitoring. My milestone as first woman mayor in Catbalogan City. Again, this is the hardest battle. Everyone is questioning my capacity, my age, my gender. Can you really run a city? Can you make the city more progressive if it's a woman who's leading the city? I have strengthened the programs for women empowerment and participation by issuing executive orders that would provide a venue for them to participate in the developmental planning process, like the representation of women in all important council. City Development Council, City Peace and Order Council, City Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council, City Health Board, City School Board, City Gender and Development Council, and a lot of councils. I made sure that all of this council, there is a woman representation. This initiative is still being implemented until now by my brother, who is the current mayor of the city. Another milestone, I have intensified the economic program of women by providing skills training for women that would enhance their potentials, increasing their incomes or their earnings. We all know that women economic empowerment is a key towards gender equality. This initiative increases the ability of women to participate equally in existing markets, access on the productive resources, have a decent work and income that can sustain their needs, increase their voices, and have a meaningful participation in the economic decision-making process. I also spearheaded the organization of MOVE, Men Opposed Violence Against Women. The inclusion of empowering men is also highlighted in my term as mayor because I believe that we can only eliminate violence against women everywhere if we are working with men. Do you believe that? Yeah? We need to work with them so that we can actually eliminate violence against women everywhere. Another one is I also introduced leadership and recognition programs that will motivate the women to be more involved in the government and to feel empowered that they can run for office or work with the government or be partners with the government. Recognition programs acknowledges their involvement and valuable share while working with the community. As a city councilor, as I chair a lot on different major committees in the city council, I have authored many policies, ordinances, and resolutions to advance women empowerment and gender equality. And I would like to highlight a few of them. Institutionalizing men-opposed violence everywhere. I made sure that there is a law to organize, to budget, to empower men as our colleague, as our partner in making sure that there is gender equality. Also, the revision of City Gender and Development Code that encompasses all the benefits of women and other sectors of our city. The Gender and Development Code covers the protection, participation, capacity development, and strengthening services for women. As I chair the Committee on Finance, Budget, and Appropriation, I was able to push an increased budget allocation for women programs and projects such as Women Health Wellness Center to different villages. And mind you, all the 57 villages of the city, we now have Women Health Wellness Center in each of the villages of the city. And we also increased budget for skills, capability trainings, and livelihood assistance. Currently, I am in the process of formulating an ordinance that would localize municipalism, feminism of the UCLG world in our city. I believe that by localizing municipalism, feminism approach would mean a better and advanced programs and projects for the whole city.
You have 1 minute more.
After all, sustainable development can only be achieved when there is equality. So what are the challenges? For me, the challenges are the sustainability of the programs. Political affiliations is still a challenge. Digital technology and economic status. But overall, this is all about opportunities. When we have the opportunity to be there, to be in the process, then the programs will be sustainable. If we have the opportunity to be in a political party, then we can run that office. If we have the opportunity that the technology in our city digitally is actually advanced, then we have the opportunity. Then if our economic status is okay, then we have the opportunity. Therefore, it is important that women should engage in politics, yes. And as a government, local government, we should come up with more programs and complementary mechanisms that will provide the quota for women in politics and identify a strategy that would increase the interest of women to run for an election and win, to work in the government, or to be a dynamic partner and stakeholder of the government, that they actively participate in the governmental process of the city. Women in politics, like where I am in Catbalogan, create a space or a platform where women can actually perform well to the best of their ability and represent women in decision making. Women in politics, based in my own experience, create a women-friendly politics that would enhance the potential of women. Women in politics can break barriers that are already in the spheres of governance that limits the opportunities of women. This will encourage women to participate in politics and increase their confidence in themselves to engage in politics. Again, quota is a number of women running and sitting in the government, number of employees working with the government, and number of women partners and stakeholders. In total, it's a number of opportunities given to women.
Thank you, Stephanie, Councillor Stephanie, for that interesting. I don't want to stop you, but
So I would like to bid goodbye. Carry on, my fellow women. Keep shining, and to all our partners, men, work with us, love us more. In that way, world will be kinder for all gender, and we will be harmonious, and together we will achieve sustainable development for the next generation. Thank you very much, and good afternoon.
thank you, Councillor Stephanie. Opportunity to make the change, that is the buzzword I heard. So we are here to create that opportunity. Thank you, Councillor Stephanie, once again. Our next speaker is Dr. Aditi.
Dr. Aditi Narayani Paswan, Assistant Professor, Delhi University, is an Assistant Professor at University of Delhi in Lakshmi Bai College in the Department of Sociology. She is also a columnist with Indian Express and Outlook and has also been part of Commission on the Status of Women, United Nations, New York, 2016 to 2019. She has co-founded Dalit Adivasi Professors and Scholars Association, one of the leading think tanks in the field of study of inclusion and public policy. She is also a Y20 chair. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Miss Aditi, Dr. Aditi rather.
Thank you, Dr. Aditi. My question to you is, quota system is introduced in India in 1993. Do you think we should continue with that quota, and why? That's my first question. And my second question is, over the past 2 decades, what are the positive or negative changes that was observed by introducing quota for women in decision-making bodies? And do you think the quota system should introduce across all national, provincial levels as well? Thank you very much, Dr. Aditi.
Thank you so much. First of all, I'm honored and privileged to be sharing the dais with people, such powerful women from the state of Gujarat, Honorable Mayor Ma'am. And Stephanie, after your speech, I feel my energy level, the rush in my body has just shot up. Like after seeing the first woman, you have definitely made a change. And the whole idea of this session is actually what she has explained. So you can see what a woman can do, what a woman can bring about a change in the country, what she has. So go down to you. And ma'am, after hearing all of us, I feel that very little I can provide my insights on this topic. But yeah, let's begin. So regarding quota, so let me tell you, I'm a quota kid since my childhood. I'm a Dalit woman. So I have had reservation in quota throughout my life. So there have been caustic remarks, "Arey, quota ki bachchi hai, reservation ki bachchi hai." But you know, if there was no quota, I'm sure I wouldn't be standing here and giving a speech in English, which is a kind of a privilege for a country like India. So quota is what makes women, and especially women from the marginalized section, to be represented in the mainstream. You talk about politics, you talk about economics, you talk about any sort of representation. And as all of us know that we are underrepresented. No matter we are on the way that we are talking about Nari Shakti, we are talking about women-led development, we are talking about women development. But the structural inequalities which are there in the society are such that we have been marginalized for centuries and centuries. And that marginalization in a very pure organic form cannot just be taken for a toss in a day that you decide that, you know, today I want to come out. Even a woman, when she's stepping out of her house to going to a school, I feel that's an achievement for a woman. And you know, I feel that quota is very important because it can accelerate the growth towards gender equality. the voices which are unheard, the voices of the women from the margins, the voices of the women from tribal community, the voices of the women which are unheard, they can only be heard when there is a woman, when there is a woman from their community standing at some podium and talking about them. Till the time there is no one, no representation, quota is synonymous with representation. Representation is about recognition, and if there is recognition, then only we can talk about redistribution of resources, redistribution of opportunities which can be available to us. Traditionally, in most part of the country or most part of the world, I would rather say, we have a culture that perpetuates some sort of women's subordination. Whether we talk about the classics of Max Weber or Karl Marx, or we talk about the recent year, there has been that structural inequality. We have always kind of excluded women from the discourse. And the discourse about gender discourse can only come if there's a quota. Now talking about the quota, so in 1993, when the Indian government approved a constitutional amendment that changed the face of rural politics today. In my family from my village, which is the northern part of Bihar, 2 of my chachi are mayor, belonging to the caste that I belong to. It is sure and sure because of the quota, I would say. Quota has given them the voice. And that landmark judgment has brought about a complete overhaul in the gender parity of this country. Now, I will say that when you're talking about quota, so quota brings about inclusivity. Quota brings about, it promotes the inclusivity, it encourages women to come out and talk about them. When we are talking about, and as ma'am has asked me the second question also, I definitely feel that the quota should be there, the quota should be implemented at all the levels. If there is no quota, I definitely feel that we will be left behind. As a it's not that as a feminist I'm trying to say this, but as just a woman who has since a childhood. I remember in our state of Bihar, even the distribution of food is gendered. Like when we have, you have non-veg if you eat, there are pieces of chicken. So there are certain pieces of chicken and fishes which will be given to women and certain pieces which will be given to men. When you're fighting is just for the piece of a chicken, you cannot imagine the fight the way you have to have a struggle, right? Our struggle is just ongoing and ongoing. It doesn't end. And if you take that one quota that we have from us, poor us, we can't be standing here and talking. So I feel very strongly that there should be, and I'm glad that a state, as Sir has said, has 50% of the quota because we have 16 mayors. I'm proud to say that the state of Bihar, which once was a part of a Bimaru state, is doing exceptionally well when it comes to women empowerment. And the second, I feel one of the concepts which I've read about in research is this of Pradhan Pati. Because we have increased level of quota, now what these men, they have devised a new way that, this is a reserved constituency for a woman, let my wife go and contest the election, and if she wins, I'll be the Pradhan Pati. So, the face is mine, but still the power control, as ma'am said, that it doesn't matter where you are, but what matters is who controls the power. So in this Pradhan Pati concept, generally the man is holding the power, but that is also fine, I would say. You are there still, and you can know that you can pull the strings. It's okay, let him control the power, you're the face of it. And as far as our country is concerned, the president of our country, Honorable Draupadi ji, she has given hopes to crores and lakhs of women belonging to Orissa, to one of the most backward state of the country, belonging to a Santhal tribe, the most backward tribe of this country. She becoming the first woman, the first lady of this country, we can see the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister also in that which is happening. You have when you see in Uttar Pradesh, and I'll tell you why we need women in politics, because in Uttar Pradesh, when there was this concept of Izzat Ghar, when the policies, they decided that, we need to construct toilets. It was difficult for a person to understand why the emphasis given on a toilet. Because, for a woman, toilet is considered to be, it's a place of her dignity. It is a place that is going to protect us from getting sexually exploited. When in the women in the morning in the group, they used to use the field or open areas to go, then the sexual predators are there. So that is the concept of Izzat Ghar, that is how it came. And who can think of it, a toilet, just merely a toilet, that what a toilet is capable of doing to us women. It is us only, we the women can think of it. So I think for little thing, from the construction of toilets to our even that Ujwala scheme which is there, which is about that, you know, we are going to get LPG gases. It is going to when you are going and firing that firewood, the gas which is emitted out of it, it affects our bronchitis system. It affects our health, and nobody is going to talk about it. As it is, our health, as I said, the distribution of food is such that we don't get the protein of the family. We just get the leftover of the family. And plus, when we're firing, we're sitting near the firewood and inhaling that, it is going to affect our body. It's going to affect the system, respiratory system. So schemes like Ujwala scheme which are there. So all these schemes, when they're thought of, I'm sure there are women sitting on the dais, there are women sitting on the as policy makers who are talking about it, and that is how these things, these nuanced understanding of very little things are given such importance, and those are becoming a policies of which all of us are beneficiary of it. So this is what I had to say, and I hope I did make a little bit of sense after hearing to such great people, such erudites around me. But thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I
You know, I totally agree with you that you know, the quota system, what you know, do you feel, you know, that if quota system would not have been there, whether this many number of women would have entered politics? You are a politician, I am not. So this is, you know, my question. This, you know, because we are also doing a lot of research, you know, on this, you know, particularly putting up, you know, different kind of, you know, approaches, you know, for a discussion. And I'm not from politics, but I'm very close to all political parties, you know, because of my work. And I totally, you know, in fact, agree with Aditi, you know, this respect. What do you feel, you know, see what the elected representative setting? Because this is what, you know, actually we ask this question across the parties, and everybody, all women there, they are already elected. They all said, you know, actually, that it's not that easy to enter in such a big number. I mean, that was the answer, but I thought, you know, I can ask you. And second, you know, actually, I was, you know, you said about Pradhan Mantri. You know, I'll tell you, this is not a story. Maharashtra, you know, actually, first generation women, their husbands, you know, whose seat lady got, you know, for electing because of reservation. Many time it happened, you know, that the main original, you know, the corporator of that area, he used to also enter, you know, general body with his wife. And in fact, most of the decision making thing, he used to talk. He is not a member now. So ultimately, state government issued a GR that no male, you know, brother, husband, whosoever, you know, will not accompany woman, you know, elected councillor inside, you know, the house, you know, for any meeting. This was a GR, you know, government resolution which was, you know, in fact, you know, released by, you know, particularly the government of Maharashtra. So first generation it used to, but now, you know, women, they have become very, you know, that way. They have become aggressive. They have realized, you know, power to them. So now it's not, you know, seen that much, you know, particularly that men entering into general body.
thank you very much. Anuya, for your question.
Thank you. My name is Anuya Kuvar. I am the program manager for the Commonwealth Local Government Forum. And my question is, I completely agree that we have to have quotas if we have to have good representation of women. But what's really concerning is, in India itself, we are having reservations since the 73rd, 74th Amendment. But you often find that there is U-turn, or there is no promotional politics, as Neha ma'am was saying. You seldom find women who are elected representatives in the local government actually climbing up, going to the state legislative assembly, or probably to the parliament perhaps. So what do we really do in that case? I mean, it's kind of related to it. It always, you know, this question is always in my mind that you have quota. We have one time probably women leaders coming into, say, a Gram Panchayat or a local government. But why there is a U-turn? After 5 years, you don't really find those same very women again saying that I'm going to contest. They often say, oh, 5 years, good enough, I am tired, I'm going back. So what's going to happen with that? It's a question I guess we all need to think about, address and design strategies for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone, you are directing the question to anyone in the panel, or it's open? Yeah.
quota system in the municipalities and panchayat. But when we amended the constitution, we made provision that administrative power and financial power also should be equal. But contrary to constitutional intention, there is a very dangerous trend which is coming in most of the states, that the administrative and financial powers are being centralized. In absence of administrative financial power, they will not be able to perform. And once they are able to perform, their reputation will be very different. Now, one of the solutions to that is give them administrative power in the spirit of the constitution, give them financial power in the spirit of constitution. Simply, Patna High Court has given a judgment in for the administrative revolution. Recently, the provincial government, they didn't want, they are not in the way to Supreme Court. So far, the financial revolution is concerned, there is public interest litigation pending in the Patna. Now, once administrative revolution, suppose it is supported by Supreme Court, and similarly financial revolution supported by the court, there is no dispute with the 70 then probably these mayors, they will get re-elected and the chance of revolution will be real. So I will urge upon this to all India Council of Mayors, which is the association of the mayors, they must hesitate before the party and the Supreme Court, and if they intend to become party, and if the judgment of the administrative revolution is okayed by the Supreme Court, then probably that will be true self for the women mayor or the mayor. Second question, for policy making, when the introduction was made in 96 for reservation of the women in the Assembly and Parliament, that could not be true. Policy makers, the municipalities and panchayats of the states, so all have to come from municipality and state government. Now, once the women are properly represented in the Assembly and Parliament, then probably right in it, the revolution will go, powers will go, and these mayors and the panchayat presidents, they will be able to perform much better than what it is today. Thank you.
Yeah, there is a question from the audience. It's a written one, and it's directed to anyone from India. Do you think the women elected representatives who brought into power could raise the women's issues in the administrative bodies more than before? That's the first question. And the second one is, are they gender sensitive? Any changes in the developmental activities which make local bodies more gender friendly? So it's about the gender sensitivity, and then the other one is whether the women have brought the change that was expected. Would you like to answer?
Yeah, if I say about India, yes, that so many, the now Gujarat, Maharashtra, we have 50% reservation for it. And yes, it is a getting, more gender friendly, approach, in the local government way. Gender budgeting, the first, basically either in Gujarat or even in Maharashtra, we have, a gender budgeting, now even in the bigger, the municipal corporation, which are again, issues which are raised by women, in the either ward committees or, even in the general body or standing committee. And so more actually, the voice given, to the women issues. In fact, if you see, Mr. Singh, particularly if you see, the 12th schedule and 18th function, every, function you have a gender approach. And that was actually, particularly when the reservation was given, 73rd or 74th. That was, actually one of the idea, behind that. And I think, yes, many cities, in fact, we, from All India, actually, we did, the study of Pune Municipal Corporation for gender, framework for gender friendly city. And that municipal commissioner, he did a budget provision basis on, our, actually issue, particularly listing issues on the basis of gender indicators, and they made a
we are running out of time. It's 4 o'clock. And yeah, I can give you about one. Yeah.
मैडम ने बताया सही बात है। गुजरात और महाराष्ट्र में ये ऑलरेडी है कि 50% महिलाओं को वहाँ पर नेतृत्व दिया है, और खास करके बजट में भी मुझे कहने में अभी बड़ा प्राउड होता है कि इस बार हमारी गुजरात असेंबली ने जो महिला एमएलएस है तो उन लोगों को एक्स्ट्रा 1 CR का उन लोगों को ग्रांट अलॉट किया, एक्स्ट्रा 1 CR ओनली महिला एमएलएस। यस, अभी तो उस हिसाब से मतलब महिलाओं बहुत अच्छी तरह से परफॉर्मेंस भी कर सकती है अपने एरियाज में। कई बार ऐसा होता है कि अभी लास्ट ईयर हमारा इलेक्शन गुजरात में गया तो कई सीट पर ऐसा है कि इस महिला को इस बार टिकट नहीं देनी चाहिए, तो क्यों नहीं देनी चाहिए? तो इस उस पर भी हम लोग, हमारे मीडिया ने, हमारी पॉलिटिशियन ने, सब लोगों ने इतना बड़ा डिस्कस किया। एक बार एक महिला को टिकट मिला, फिर उसकी टिकट 2 बार वो एमएलएस बनी या कॉर्पोरेशन लड़ी, तो तीसरी बार कोई पुरुष को क्यों देना है? अगर हेमाली को नहीं देना है तो सुष्मिता को दो, सीता को दो, गीता को दो, लेकिन छगन भाई को क्यों? तो वो जो हमारी सीट है, हमारी 50% है, वो हमें बना के ही रखना है, और उसमें गवर्नमेंट हमें सपोर्ट कर रही है। इस बार हमारी गुजरात गवर्नमेंट में, बीजेपी गवर्नमेंट ने 1 CR 1 करोड़ रुपए की ग्रांट महिला एमएलएस को एक्स्ट्रा दी। भाई को 20 मिलता है, 20 CR मिलती है ग्रांट, तो महिला को 21 मिलती है। तो ये हमारे लिए भी बहुत प्राउड की ये है कि नहीं, हम कहते हैं पंचायत से पार्लियामेंट तक महिला है, खेतर से लेके गांव से लेके माउंट एवरेस्ट तक महिला है। हमारी छोटी छोटी आंगनवाड़ी से लेकर बड़े बड़े साइंस सेंटर में अगर महिला है तो पॉलिटिक्स में महिला क्यों नहीं? और उसका ये होना ही चाहिए, ये मैं मानती हूँ। मुझे ये दीदी पूछ रही थी आप कब से पॉलिटिक्स में हो, आप कभी छोड़ने वाले हो? मैंने बोला नहीं। तो ये हमारे लिए, और पॉलिटिक्स ऐसा नहीं है कि पोजीशन के लिए चाहिए। एक बार हमें ऐसे ठान ली कि हमें काम करना है, फिर वो चाहे हमारे देश के लिए हो, हमारे गांव के लिए हो, हमारे सिटी के लिए हो। और मुझे तो बहुत प्राउड है कि मैं सूरत सिटी जैसी इतनी बड़ी सिटी की मुझे मेयर बनने का जो चांस मिला, तो मैंने मान लिया कि ये मेरा जन्म एक स्त्री का सफल हो गया। क्योंकि सूरत शहर में काम करना है तो आप काम से ज्यादा आप बहुत 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 सीखने को मिलता है, और मैं बहुत सीख रही हूँ, ये मुझे प्राउड है। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. So that brings to the conclusion of our session, and which endorsed that we should continue with the quota, not only at the local level, maybe at the state or at the national level as well. So thank you very much, my panelists, and
Thank you to our moderator and dignitaries. Please keep sitting because now it's time for the felicitation. Now I'll request Sunny George to please come forward and felicitate Miss Stephanie. तालियों के साथ everybody. Mr. Viral Shah to please felicitate Dr. Aditi. Huge round of applause, everybody. Mr. Parvez to please come forward and felicitate Himali. Mr. Mukesh Mathur to come forward and felicitate our moderator Hemanti. Let's have Apurva Shukla to please join us and felicitate Mr. S.K. Singh. Let's give a huge round of applause, everybody. And Mr. Anirudh from Ahmedabad to please come forward and felicitate Miss Neha. And once again, I thank all our dignitaries and distinguished speakers for giving such an interesting and insightful sessions. Now it's time for the group picture. Let's join us for the group picture. Also, ladies and gentlemen, there is an important announcement. Outside, there is a very interesting stall of organic products by Girl Power. So all of you should visit and explore those products. एक बार तालियां हो जाएं, everybody. As we come to an end to the second session, and now we're gonna have a quick high tea break for 10 minutes, and we are going to be back for the final session of the day. We'll see you back after 10 minutes, and once again thanking to all our dignitaries, speakers, moderator, everybody.